Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and before we get started and I introduce my special guest, I just want to remind you that if you're looking for an opportunity to host your own show, IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. And just as a reminder, we are an iHeartRadio server. IntellectualRadio.com, play it back YouTube, as well as view us Facebook Live. So now that we've gotten all that out the way, I want to welcome a longtime friend. Our friendship expands over 17 plus years.
At least.
Mr. Barry White. No, I can't say it like the real Barry White, but Barry White. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Angela.
Yes. So we're going to talk about the future of money. That is the topic of discussion. Mm-hmm. And let's delve right into it. Now, let's talk about what made you become an entrepreneur.
Well, I started off, Angela, in the corporate world and found out what I did not want to do. And that's mean work for somebody else, make somebody else rich. And so I guess that would be the main reason I decided entrepreneurship and to help others.
And so how long have you been an entrepreneur?
Now it's over 20 years now.
And what is your area of specialty?
Well, my specialty is business consultancy with a niche in taking business to the next level through technology.
Now, you are the CEO of CSB Consulting.
Yes.
And you're also...
And
founder. Let me correct and founder. And you're also manager of Barry's Bit Business. Now, we're going to get into that a little later.
Right.
But I just want to let you all know that we have had a friendship that has expanded over 17 plus years. He has always been a mentor to me, as well as a great supporter of any endeavor that I've tried to pursue. And he has taught me about economics. I'm not going to say that I've applied the principles, but he has taught me about money. And we all know that we say the root of money is evil, but try not having it and see how evil you can get.
and Angela, the correct thing is not the love of money is evil. I mean, money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of that. Let's get that right.
Well, let's correct it because I like money.
Okay.
There's
nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
You do a lot of good with money.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So just going back, some of the things that he supported. For you guys that don't know, I am a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Illinois. And I met him at a time where I was trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Yes, you are.
And he, along with his friend Charles, they were always great supporters. Anything that I had going on, whether it was or me performing somewhere or me trying to learn about what I want to do with the rest of my life, you were very, very instrumental. And so I want to thank you, along with your wife. You guys have always supported me. And so I just have to say thank you live here on IntellectualRadio.com.
It's been my pleasure.
So the first $1 million you made, because I like money and I like being around money. And let's talk about the first $1 million. What was that? Was that like this moment of, okay, or was it like, I want more?
To tell you the truth, it was by accident. But let's tell you what I mean by that. I was doing well. I was averaging about $500,000 a year. And then I did something that changed my life. I read the book and looked at the DVD on The Secret Action. And then it said, put out there what you want. And so, I'm a big proponent of setting goals, but definitely define goals. But me, the teacher, put out a goal that was kind of fuzzy. I said, I want to make $1 million. And that was in 2008. 2010, when I did my taxes, that line that kind of sums everything all up, I said 1.1. So what I mean by I did it by accident is because I didn't realize that I had achieved the goal. That was a problem, because if you don't plan for it correctly, you pay more taxes and you don't realize the gain. I felt just like when I made $500,000.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because the one thing that I can honestly say is that all the years I've known you, you have never changed how you've treated people. I mean, all the time that you've supported me, there was never, well, you can't be with me. It was always, hey, I'm going to bring you along so you can learn the power of making money. I'm going to bring you along. I want you a part of these different venues. I could run down, it would probably take us a day to run down all the accomplishments that you have achieved, but just some of them. You were a recipient of the Green Frog Award, if I'm correct. Am I saying that correct?
The Frog, yeah.
The Frog Award. And that is a very prestigious award given to, can you expound on it just a little bit?
Just certain business. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And I want to say that I actually attended that event.
Yeah.
It was money. Now, I think I was the brokest person in the room. It wasn't nothing but money in there, but I was the brokest person in the room. But you know what they say, if you rub elbows with money, eventually you're going to start to get your own. And I want to say that too is coming. I see it in my future.
Yeah. Oh, I see it too.
And I want to say that you too, many people's lives, and you've helped so many people. And so what is that like when people come back to you and they simply say thanks, or you can see the fruits of their efforts?
That's what I'm in it for. You said exactly what I'm in for, to help others. And as you know, I'm a very humble person, but there was even a problem with that. Because, I thought it was the right thing for me to, not let people know what I accomplished, not be boisterous, and not even, most people, when I hit that benchmark of $1 million, they had no clue. Me, after going through my spiritual journey, that God wanted me to let people know exactly what I had accomplished.
Wow. So are you saying, because some people would still say, well, you should let people know what you've accomplished. Are you saying that it is okay? Do you believe that it's okay for a person to share with others, or do you have to be careful with whom you share it with?
Well, I would say most people, you have to be careful who you share it with for the safety of your family and everything else. But you have to, if we're spiritual beings,
Absolutely.
If you are spiritual and you believe in a higher power, like I do, like we do,
absolutely,
you should go into meditation and pray. How the path that you should go down. Okay.
I find that interesting that you said it when you talk about spirituality, because I think that it is so important to surround yourself with good counsel.
Yes.
You have to surround yourself with people who have your best interests, people who are willing to, for lack of a better word or a term, die for you and not set you up to die.
Right.
But people that are willing to die for you, who have your best interests at heart. Because I think that so often we surround ourselves with who are just looking to latch on. They're looking to take. They're takers and not givers. So let's ask the question. Let me ask you the question. Did you change any of your habits?
No, I did not.
To make it happen?
No. I got better at goal setting, and I get more driven. But it's just putting some of my existing habits on steroids. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So which ones did you take? No, just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, well, name some of your habits.
One is I'm real big on being everywhere on time. If I'm not 15 minutes early, I'm late. Okay. Second thing is, it's a common denominator amongst prosperous people. Okay, most of us have read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yes.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it goes on and on and on. But those who don't and wonder why they can't come up with $1 million ideas, they're not feeding their minds.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm not taking anything else, but you're watching people who are millionaires on the field, and they're not sharing anything with you.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm not saying stop sports. Okay, I don't want to get those calls, but I'm saying, and how can it be best spent? Fraction and say, hey, I can still take in sports, but how much time am I going to dedicate to reading and to feeding my mind and to becoming as income.
Absolutely. Now, I want to share something with my viewers as well as listeners. When I was trying to figure out who I was so many years, over 17, 18 years ago, the one thing that you always pushed, and that was education, pushing education. And I remember when I to get my license to get become a cosmetologist. You said, okay, that's great.
Hmm. And now I wanted to say a little bit on that because I'm an advocate, support of education.
Absolutely.
But too many times when we talk about education, is to get a good job.
Mm.
Because I think it's an acronym also for just over broke. Okay, you get a good education, feed your mind and self. Okay, and get to the point you develop a strategy where you can get your money working harder than you. Now you're getting somewhere.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I just want to say when I myself to walk away from a job after 17 plus years, I'm sorry, would have been 19 years.
Mhm.
Images of you and other people that I've known came into my mind, and I realized that it's time to do something different. Reached out to you,
Mhm.
and I talked to you about that. I said, hey, it's time to do something different. And the one thing that I can always say, and I want to say this to all those that are viewing and listening Facebook Live, that you once again have always been a big proponent and a big supporter of me, and I am very, very grateful for that. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I'm sitting here today.
I'm glad to be, and you have been very gracious over the years, and I always knew that you would be here today. Okay,
Thank
and
you.
be a success.
Thank you.
Right. I'm a proponent of education, and but being in the business for yourself. But also, it's nothing wrong with having a job, and but then you have a strategy on how you're going to transition yourself out of that job. And see,
Absolutely.
that's the thing. A lot of people say, okay, Barry said, be an entrepreneur, but I didn't say quit your job. Okay, remember
Absolutely.
I told you, I said, what's your strategy on leaving your job?
Absolutely.
How are you going to replace that income? How are you going to live the same lifestyle you're
Absolutely.
living or better? And
Absolutely.
once you have that strategy, then you take that leap of faith.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so in saying that, about getting back to when you made your first million, did you, after you made that first million, was that enough? Or you talk about, you wanted to do better and make more. Is there a medium so that you don't get too caught up into making the money and you lose sight of self?
Well, my prayers are that I will never let money control me. I can always control it. But the other thing, to answer your question, it's never enough because money can do so much good. So my goal now, because I left this out of my goal when I said I wanted to make a million, I left one little three-letter word out, and that's net. So now I want to net $1 billion. Okay, because I don't need $1 billion to live my lifestyle. I've always lived below my means, but with that $1 billion, I can do so much good. I came up in Inglewood. I want to adopt a block, a couple of blocks in Inglewood. There's so many people that I want to help. Okay. And so that's why, my next goal is to net $1 billion.
Wow, you've heard it live here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am sitting not next to see, I'm stumbling now. Not just to a millionaire, but an individual who has said that he has set his eyes on the prize and that his net $1 billion. Y'all better get in them books. Better start making them phone calls. And the other thing too is you have to be careful about with whom you associate with.
Yes.
And it is really crazy how sometimes you just meet people. And the thing is, what I've learned or what I'm learning, that a lot of times when you meet people well known or they're successful, it's not because you're old. For women, I want y'all to tune in and I want y'all to hear this real good. It's not because you look so good, because you got something different than another woman. It's because you were supposed to be in that place at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So stop thinking that a lot of times when you meet a man, and I have to put that in there, it's because he's looking to be with you. No, he's looking to help you. A lot of times, be with you, but he can deposit some seeds, water them. And always remember, the more you know, the further you go. Just remember this: good. There's always somebody who looks better. I just had to drop that in, interject that in there a little bit.
And you live long enough, those looks gonna go away.
You better say that again.
So you gotta have something inside.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, you are the founder and you are the CEO of CSB Consulting.
Yes, I am.
How
That's
long?
corporate small business consulting.
Corporate small business consulting.
And I started that company in 07.
In 07.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really amazing. You just never know. Like, that came by somewhat of an accident. I was here as a guest on the show of some childhood friends. And when I got done, the producer, the other, Winfrey, he's sitting right there, came to me and he said, would you consider going into politics? I said, well, I don't know about politics. And as he began to further talk to me, he then stated, would you consider hosting your own radio show? Last year, and I haven't quit since. And I think that you're absolutely correct.
You're a natural, too.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I think that it is important that when you are, you have to seize the moment, because sometimes we don't get that opportunity to seize the moment again. And I think that you have to step out on faith, not knowing particularly what the outcome is going to be, but simply say that it's got to be better than what I'm doing. And I would also say that, yes, you do have to have a strategy to transition. And that's the big word, transitioning. It's not so much about change, because change is truly inevitable. It is adapting to the transition so that you don't lose your mind.
Exactly. And so you want to have that strategy. Now, it's nothing wrong there in the universe, what you want to achieve, before you have any idea of how you're going to achieve it. Law of attraction. But you have a strategy to make that transition from what you're doing now to what you want to do. Okay. Just like when I said my next goal is to net $1 billion, I had no idea how I was going to do it. Put that out there. Everything started lining up. Then all of a sudden I see things I'm doing now that could get me to that goal.
Let's talk about your other venture. Well, not venture, because you're actually doing these things. Barry's BitQuick.
Oh, well, it's that's my cryptocurrency consultancy.
Cryptocurrency. Now, then we're talking about the future of money, which is the topic on this evening. The future of money. Let's talk about cryptocurrency, because I don't think that particularly in the African American community, we are aware of what that is. So can you expound on that for me?
Yeah, let me give you a little history. It started in 09 with a coin called Bitcoin, a technology that's called blockchain. Bitcoin started at 2 cents. You know, most of us, we knew nothing about it. It was a sleeper. Do you realize now it's at $4,200? I can't keep up. Don't correct me, anybody out there, because it might be at 43 now, because it's been climbing. $4,300. Wow. Do you know $100 back then would be $75 million or more right now? $100, but we went there. It's still growing, and they said it could hit $10,000. But the only thing is, what are the chances of something doubling right away that's already at 4,100? But there are other cryptocurrencies that's out there that's for 2 cents or less.
Well, I like to get in on that 2 cents. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Reading with respect to cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency, some of the big organizations have adopted this concept.
Well, they adopted the technology that cryptocurrency is built upon. That's called the blockchain. Now, let me give you a visual, and everybody a visual out there. The blockchain, just imagine thousands of computers. But you know how you hear about computers getting hacked all the time?
Absolutely.
Just think of the same information reside on all those computers, thousands of computers. So you hack into one, the other one say, oh, something's wrong there. One. And that's what makes it so secure, that the information is all over the place.
Now, it's funny that you say that, because of course, 100 is 143 million individuals were the hack of Equifax.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell the people how have they adapted in that technology that so wouldn't have to call Equifax and TransUnion and all the other ones of identity theft.
Well, if Equifax okay, had have been on the blockchain, there would have been it would have been a problem at all. Because just when the hackers went into that one computer, the other ones would have alienated it, the information, for one thing. Okay. The second thing is that credit rating system is flawed. It's no one criteria for judging your credit.
Absolutely.
They say it is. They give you a basis, but they're changing it all the time. So, and this is something I want everybody to hear me loud and clear. Having a negative credit rating does not mean you do not pay your bills on time necessarily.
Hold on, because you just said something real profound. I want you to repeat that again in slow motion.
A negative credit rating does not mean that necessarily that you don't pay your bills on time. Things that affect and lower your credit that we're not usually told. Okay, like if you have $1,000 limit and you charge $800 of it, that's reported negatively because you're using over 50% of your credit line, and it's saying, well, if you got to use that much, it might be a problem coming there. How's that?
So let's talk about credit cards because it seems like it's inevitable, and that you can't avoid credit cards. Put it that way.
Well, you should have credit, okay, and you should have a credit card or two, but your life shouldn't depend on credit. It shouldn't be defined by credit. You should have the means to pay for what you want. See, that's a problem, especially in the African American community. Okay, if you look at the amount of credit debt, income, and that's a problem.
And it's interesting. I was shopping today, and each time I went into the store, oh, would you like to apply for a credit card? And I said, no, if I can't pay for it cash, I don't need it. And I think that's what I was missing. I believe that if you can't pay for it in cash, you don't need to put it on a credit card. It doesn't make any sense.
No, you don't. And, once you charge something on credit, you shouldn't, in the length of time they give you, you should pay it out as quick as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because usually it doubles, triples, and in some cases quadruples.
And it affects your credit rating.
Absolutely. And so
paying a minimum amount a month. And
so let's talk about the different, because I see you on Facebook Live, you're each morning, or you give about the Bitcoin.
Yeah, I try to once a week at least talk about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is a company that has a coin called BitKey. That's my horse in the race. But I've investigated all cryptocurrencies, and I want to say that if you're not with my horse, you need to be with a horse. Okay, you need to be in the race. Absolutely. Okay, because a lot of money is being made. A lot of money will be made in cryptocurrency. You heard that from me today. Now, your life will never be the same. Anybody that's listening to me, because I said, and it's put out there now. So it's up to you to do your research. Okay, you don't have to trust any one person or everything. The research is out there. And for a little money, you can gain a lot.
Now, let's talk to the people and let them know that when you're investing, something that you may see overnight that people don't understand, that there is a waiting game. And most people think that, oh, well, I invested today, I should have it 6 months from now. Mm-hmm. And
you do not, for one thing, you do not put any money out there that you have a fear of losing. Okay, it should be money that you put to work for you.
And so let me ask you this. He wants to know, and our listeners want to know as well. Currency. How does that convert to, as some people would say, real money?
Okay, that's oxymoron too. Real money, okay, there's
Absolutely.
no such thing as real money,
Absolutely.
But that's the number one question. Ways you can buy Bitcoin is the translator. Okay, so no matter what cryptocurrency you use, you have to turn it to Bitcoin. Then you can turn that Bitcoin into cash. Okay, one of the number one ways is I have a BitPay card, and it has a Visa logo. So where can you use Visa?
Everywhere.
Okay, so and that's exactly what I can do. And it automatically, once I put that Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin I want, you don't have to put a whole Bitcoin. You go up to like a fraction of a Bitcoin, like $1 of a Bitcoin or something like that. Once I put that on my card, I spend it just like mine. Tires for my truck, $986. Pulled out my card, and they swiped it like any other credit card, and transaction was done.
Wow. So
it is here. Also, did you know there are hundreds and hundreds of Bitcoin ATMs right around us, and most people didn't even know that. It's out there. So anybody can go to Bitcoin ATMs and watch what comes up and watch how many are right around you. See, this is what happens with technology. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this is a saying I have, Angela, that if you're in front of technology, you make money. In technology, you're a consumer, and money is made off of you. Mm. So what I want everybody to know is that do the research. The money, the technology is there. Find out what the technology is and how can they profit from it.
So with saying that, how do you purchase or buy into? And is there a minimum?
Okay. There's no minimum on Bitcoin and or on Bitkey, most cryptocurrencies. And you can buy Bitcoin peer-to-peer. That means if I wanted to sell my Bitcoin to you, I could. Or you have Bitcoin ATM.
I don't think you want to.
I don't think I want to sell. You're my friend. I'll give you a little. But okay. But there are Bitcoin ATMs. For buying them from the ATMs, just like any other ATMs, they might charge you anywhere from 3 to 12%. But you can purchase it that way. So also, if you were a techie person, you could mine. And what do I mean by that? It's not put on a little miner's hat or anything like that, but computers, and you could create a Bitcoin, and you're rewarded when you do that. And you create a block of Bitcoins. That's called mining. I don't want to get too deep because it's very confusing as it is for people, but that's another way of obtaining Bitcoins. Okay. One of the reasons I've become an advocate for cryptocurrency is because people deem that it's not real, future, that's going to go away soon. Even Jamie Dimon said, I'm sorry, Jamie Dimon is the over, okay, and he said that it was fake. Bill Gates said it's the future. Absolutely. And so it's a debate out there. In 2014, the government looked at it and came after it, and a lot of people got scared. It went down in price.
And so
it survived that. Okay.
So just for our listeners, is the owner of
Virgin
Airlines, so we wanted to clear that up.
I'm sorry, I think everybody knows these people.
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
You're right. Thank you for clearing that up.
So we want to make sure that our listeners are in tune. You guys have got to read in a book, particularly when it comes to African American people. Mm-hmm. Just put it in a book. They won't pick it up.
They won't pick it up. Yeah.
And it's interesting that the one thing that we try to get away from is the one that we need, and that's reading.
Yeah.
You cannot combat these systems without having information, because the only difference between you and I is the accessibility to information and how it's utilized.
Know what? Something else is not only the books, it's something that wasn't available when I was coming up. Google.
Yes.
You can Google it and look for credible sites. If it's said on CNN, that's pretty credible, I think, and some other sites. You can do your homework.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I wish I had it. the answer to. You just
It's funny that we're talking about this because I was at maybe a month and a half ago, and just so happened there was a conversation being had about cryptocurrency, and so I began to kind of just move into the people
you
and see what they
should.
were talking about. And I'm talking about these are politicians. I will keep their names private, but
Mhm.
they were talking about the cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
And this is not a quick rich scheme. So it's not a Ponzi scheme or anything like this. This is where the future of money. And they were talking about it. They talked about it the more that because it's one of those things where what you don't know, you question. And because I'm not necessarily a techie person,
Right. Right.
and so even though I have friends that are in tech, as a matter of fact, actually reached out to a friend in Florida. She's a tech. She owns her own technological infrastructure IT company. And I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, what do you think of?" And it may have been a day or two before she got back with me, and she said it's reliable. And so STEM is real. Science, tech. What's the other one? Math,
Yeah.
economics, and engineering. So STEM is real. See, I told you I'm not a tech person. But we just want to say that the future of money is here.
Yeah. And now, and let me tell you, I've been down this road before. I came up in retail, as you know.
Yes.
Okay. I get tired of telling it to the kids, so I can say it to everybody else. I started at $2.30 an hour with Montgomery Ward and Company. Some of the millennials don't even know what that is. But I worked my way up through the company. And then all of a sudden, something amazing happened one day. They came and set this box on the shelves, and it had a screen. It had a C: greater than sign. But I didn't know what to do with it. So I took classes, and it's like taking a foreign language class. And fortunately, I was in the Waukegan area, and I had a lot of buddies in the Great Lakes Naval Base, and they kind of took me out of their wing and told me a little bit about technology. Then people started coming in and asking questions. They said, "Well, you got to ask our guru over there." And they was pointing at me. I'm like, wow. I ended up at the corporate office for Montgomery Ward supporting the technology for the whole chain. And I was a sponge. That changed my life. But guess what, Ashley? You wouldn't believe it now, but out of every 10 computers we sold, 8 came back. People just didn't believe it. They didn't think nothing would happen of it. Same thing's going on with cryptocurrency.
Absolutely.
So we have a natural fear of technology. So people say, it ain't real. You can't touch it. I can touch money. I can't touch that. When you card in your hand, are you touching your money? No.
No, you're not.
Okay. And so the other thing is money has went digital. Remember how we used to have a float? You give a check.
Yes.
And then you say, well, it's Wednesday. I get paid Friday. Plenty of time, and you work with that float.
Absolutely.
You get that check now. Before you get out the store, they've got your money because they turn into a digital transaction. So it's nothing new. And that's what we need to understand, because in our community, we are the biggest naysayers.
Yes. And the biggest consumers.
Yeah. But that's why we make the least. Let me say that again. We are the biggest naysayers. That's why we earn the least. Most people will take the risk. It's called risk tolerance. It's like saying, I got to take a chance on something to make money. Yeah. Are you going to lose sometime? Yes. But you're usually going to win more than you lose if you educate yourself.
Absolutely.
And, everybody who's made money has lost some money.
Absolutely.
But, they've made more than they lost.
Don't we know?
Because they take the risk.
Absolutely.
Okay. We don't take the risk. We have more fun doubting it and saying, oh, it's never going to work. And then when it takes off, saying, oh, I could have got some of that Google stock.
But let's talk about when we make money, because you and I haven't made what you near made, but I've made some money, and the steward of it. Let's talk about that, because I think that is also an adverse thing that impacts color, is not understanding what to do when they have it. Because I've made millions. To this day, count it or find out where
you spend millions. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's usually the norm.
Absolutely.
Okay. I have a philosophy. One thing, this. that I have a saying, own nothing, control everything. That means that, we get caught up too much into ownership. Now, people with money, they don't own most of the stuff. What do I mean by that? Their companies own it. That if you're a W-2 wage earner, they take out taxes, and then whatever left, you got to spend. If you're an entrepreneur, you spend, whatever left you're taxed on. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference.
Okay, say that again.
Okay. If you're a W-2 wage earner, they take out taxes, whatever left you have to work off of, right?
Right.
Because they take the taxes right off the top, right?
Absolutely.
But business for yourself, and you have a corporation, you spend, you're taxed on. When Obama first ran for office, there was this guy, Joe the plumber, about taxing us more on the profits from our companies. And both sides of the aisle, we were saying, shut up, fool, because we knew, because they said that you earn 250,000 or more.
Absolutely.
Do you realize that in business, that has a business, if they've earned 250,000, that they wrote off probably $500,000? And legitimate expenses, we buy our vehicles through our business because we have to drive to get to our work, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's a business expense.
Absolutely.
I entertain at my home a lot. And so, a lot of my groceries, the bolognas, the bread, the cheese, that's a business expense. My cell phone bill. Survive
Absolutely.
Without a cell phone,
Who would even think that?
Right. So that's a business expense. So things that most people are spending money on, I'm spending pre-tax money on. It's a big difference. It's a huge difference. And that's why the people who know prosper. So it's not always how much you make, it's how much you take.
Mm.
And they need to understand that.
It's not how much you make, it's how much you take. We're going to go to a musical break. This is Angela Champ for Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com with my special guest, Barry White, in the studio as we talk about the future of money. Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and I want to thank each and every one of you who tune in to what I have to say. Also, I want to thank and remind you that if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here at IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. Listeners, I think that we have listeners as far as Virginia, Wisconsin. We have a lot of people that are tuning in to us. So I want to thank you and remind you that if I did not give my shout out to you to say thank you for your support, I want to take this time to do that. But welcome again. We want in the studio with me is a longtime friend of mine, a friendship that expands over 17 plus years, who has always been an individual who I can call on when I need to acquire some financial advice or say that I'm looking to do A, B, C, and D, and he's going to say, well, you need to do A, B, C, D, E, and F. I want to thank you, Mr. Barry White, for taking time out of your busy schedule, because you are a busy person. I know just last week when I called you, you were in at Vegas at a conference.
Yes, and attending the largest mixer that happens once a year in Vegas.
Now, let's talk about that.
1,500 people networking. Okay. All interested in, and let me tell you how to effectively network. And I would love to come on again and talk about just networking.
Absolutely.
But just a little tidbit on networking. Promoting your business. It's about going up to people and saying, what do you do? And see if you can find them contacts or leads. If I gave you a lead that made you some money, wouldn't you feel an obligation to make me money?
Absolutely.
That's true networking at its best.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be walking up to you and saying, what do you do for a living?
Right.
And it really is interesting. Like, there are a lot of people out there that are listening right now and tuning in, and you just have to seize that moment, and you really have to that you do have to pay it forward. But also you have to surround yourself with good counsel, because you have a lot of takers who want to take, but they never have anything to add on to the pot. And let's talk about a little bit more about living below your means, because some people would say, well, people that know you and have had the opportunity to be around you say, well, are you really living below your means? But you really are living below your means.
I really am, always. And let me put a little disclaimer out there. I'm not a CPA, and I'm not a business lawyer. Okay. I think you should always, consult professionals in your life. I'm a consultant. Okay. And that's what I do best. I learn and I crunch the numbers. I don't sleep at night, consuming information so that others can be spoon fed by me. Okay. And, we have to keep in mind to evolving technologies and things that are going around. I mean, I'm old school. I remember it used to be a rhythm when you walked past offices of typewriters, typing. It just seemed like overnight they went away.
Yes.
Guess what's going to happen within the next 5 years? 25% of all jobs will be lost to robotics. I say that to scare anybody. I'm trying to say, look at jobs. Just look at what is going to grow, and look at what can be eliminated by those robots.
You're absolutely correct. And so what I was looking at, take for example, if the majority of individuals that are incarcerated are in for petty crimes and let out, what do you think is going to happen to that workforce? They're going to be given the pink slip like anyone else and say, your services are no longer needed. You won't be able to fight it. Why? Because we're working in an at-will state. So your services are at will. Once again, this is not to scare anybody. You got that old saying that God bless a child who has his own. Nobody's ever going to pay you what you're worth.
No.
Therefore, you have to create your present, your future, that you think is important to your life, with the guidance of good people. Of course, like you said, we are both spiritual people, and we understand that each and every day, I don't ask for things because I have everything that I need. And so the thing is that you have to, it's like a puzzle. You have to put all the pieces out on the table and say, okay, well, I know Barry White, Shaquita. Now, people may laugh at that name, but Shaquita might be an IT person.
Yep.
I know Earl. I know, well, okay, he owns a radio show. Education. And so you have to put all this information together and say, what do we do with it?
Yep.
And I think that's the problem. And the other thing is, people is getting back to the basics. And by getting back to the basics, we are the only people that don't understand the importance of living. Imagine if each one of your family members, if they're paying $900 to $1,000 per month, they could take that same $900. So you got 4 or 5 members paying this for rent. You find one big home where you're paying maybe $2,500. Now you're saving the rest of that money. Educate the future.
And it's done in other cultures.
Yes, it is.
Okay. You know what? And funny you should be on this subject, because each year I started with a theme. Guess what this year's theme was? This is the year of collaboration.
Ah.
And you wouldn't believe the amazing collaborations I've made over the year. And prior to hitting that benchmark of making $1 million, it was something else holding me back. I felt I had to do it all myself. But when I started, collaborating with people, now some of us are gun shy about being in a business with somebody, and rightfully so. I can't tell you the amount of money I've lost, and the trouble I've gotten in for being in with business partners.
Absolutely.
Collaboration is different. You don't have to share your bank account. You don't have to share your business. It's like a joint venture. You agree to work towards a common goal, but each being your own individual business or individual people.
Now talk about that, how important it is to collaborate with people who have your best interests at heart. Because even though you may have individual goals, there has to be a collective effort with the business goal. So often people who they're in the back door and you're coming in good faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk about,
you have to get in with like-minded individuals, people that have the same heart as you. If not, you know me, I believe in people.
Absolutely.
But, people will use that as a weakness. So you have to be aware of that and find the right people. It's not anybody that said they want to be in business with you. You have to make sure it's the right fit. And that's talking, getting to know them. It's worth the time because it's a relationship.
Absolutely.
And so, if you jump into a relationship too quick, that's why we have such a rise in divorce.
Absolutely.
Okay? So you do have divorces all the time in business.
Absolutely.
The same thing.
Absolutely.
So, you have to have the right fit. And then also you have to surround yourself by the right people, because naysayers will bring you down. You with a group of positive people.
Absolutely.
Now, that's easier said than done because, I shouldn't be saying this, but some of your biggest naysayers can be right within your family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I shouldn't say it that.
We shouldn't say it that. But, who cares?
But but so you got to find people.
Absolutely.
Every Monday, I drive from the south suburbs to the city of Chicago. I have a group, ACES. It's a networking group, a group of business individuals. That starts my week off right, because they're on the same accord about doing something positive with business and helping each other. And we learn to know, like, and trust each other. So we don't mind sharing our databases with one another.
Absolutely. And I want to say that I've actually gone to quite a few of your meetings, your powwows, and I can honestly say that you leave there thinking, knowing, but being able to take those thoughts and put them into an action and really changing your lifestyle. And I think that for me, when you had enough time out of your busy schedule to come here, because once again, I can honestly say this too, that when you surround yourself with good people, those friendships will last. Now, even though we don't see each other, might be years may pass before we speak or see each other, but we always keep that connection. And I think that you have to surround yourself with like-minded people. You have to cut people off if they're not thinking the way that you're thinking.
It sounds hard, but you have to. And you know what? I know time's a ticking, so I want to add cryptocurrency.
Yes.
Because I want to leave people with something. And do your homework on cryptocurrency. Now, I've become a consultant. Some people call me Mr. Crypto. I know the industry as a whole. I'll be doing some lectures in the Chicago area. I'll be doing some webinars. So you find me, because my name is Barry White, my symbol is a little red sports car. Okay. So you can IM me on Facebook, or you can just, I'm technology now. text Barry, the 72727.
Absolutely.
Okay. And find out, because I'm going to educate as many people as I can on this evolving technology.
Absolutely.
Because I know that a lot of millionaires will be created out of this.
Now, I just want to say, I want to talk about this because I actually was able to witness this. I personally, from myself, millionaires, associate with these people that are just making it happen. And recently, you just awarded one of your friends, I want to say a good friend of yours, a good business partner, he was awarded something major.
What happened is he got some cryptocurrency for purchasing a car. That's part of my collaboration. I had Sutton Ford. It's one of the merchants appreciation cooperatives that I've set up, where if you're an affiliate of Big Quick, you get coins when you buy a car. He's gonna get coins, and guess what? He's gonna get approximately 6,000 coins. Okay, right now they're valued at about 3 cents, but $1.50, that car is absolutely free.
Wow.
So he got rewarded. Okay, so I'm excited about that. And see, but the thing is, that's why I want to get the word out, because you can get involved in cryptocurrency for little or no money. People need to understand that, because it's always the objection, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. But let me say a little bit about that, because I'm going to step on some toes here too. I've heard people tell me that they didn't have enough money to afford something. My mom's always raising. Sometimes to shut it off, I have to go to the casino and let the machine bring it down. Okay.
He said he had to go to the casino.
Yeah. And then I see these same people that said they couldn't afford it. Bills feeding into the machine. I know they are, so I don't go there to try to win money. I go down there for entertainment, like it's supposed to be for entertainment. Now if I come out ahead, okay, but I don't go there and say, "Oh, I'm short on my mortgage, so let's go to the casino and get the balance."
Absolutely.
I can almost tell you that never happens.
Absolutely.
It's almost like they can get into your emotion. If you need the money, you won't win the money.
Absolutely.
If you don't need it, that's the ones who win.
Well, they say scared money can't win.
Yep,
absolutely.
That's my saying.
Scared money can't win. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, I want to thank you. Of course, 1 hour is not enough to get all the information out. So I'd like to most definitely invite you back as we talk about the future of money, cryptocurrency. And I just want to say that I want to thank all of those who have tuned in on this evening. If you're listening via Spreaker, Facebook Live, iHeartRadio, please download the app, IntellectualRadio.com, and YouTube. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, for all the support. And if you're hungry, it's because you must be fed. I'm Angela Shemp for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. Thank you.